From the moment we are born, we're told that we have a bigger purpose, either by society, by religion, by our parents, or social circle. Today we're going to discuss, is this purpose really real? And how can I find it? How can I discover this purpose? When we think about purpose, we think big things in life, big achievements, either by other person, people around us. So maybe it's, saving 1,000 people, or maybe it's to build your own business or your own company and being really successful. Sometimes we also attach this to religion. A lot of religion says that, God created you for a bigger purpose. You are here to serve God's purpose. It's something that resonates and appears a lot in The Handmaid's Tale, one of the series from Hulu. Oftentimes, religion and the society tell us that, your purpose in life is to constitute a family, to build a family, get married, get kids, and all of that. But is it all these things real purposes? Or are just ideas that are put into us while we're growing up, while we're developing ourselves? Let's start by understanding the real definition of purpose. Purpose refers to the reason for which something is created, done, or exists, an intent, result, aim, or goal. It signifies a firm intention or determination to achieve something, representing a motivating force. It can also denote practical use, effect, or a feeling of resolve. This is the definition that we get when we type in purpose on Google. Now, let's think out of the box a little bit. There are different ways to kind of set or create your purpose in life. Life is not linear. We don't come here, find this purpose, and that's the end. No, it's quite the opposite. Our lives are full of ups and downs. These ups and downs, they will help us understand who we are, how we react in certain moments, and how we can find a quote-unquote purpose. And because life is not linear, we can have a multitude of purposes. A lot of people think of purpose as this big goal that you only reach at the end of your life, or when you're older. This is not necessarily true, and I'll use a personal story of mine to tell you about purpose. When I was younger, around like 12 or 13 years old, my bigger purpose in life was to visit Walt Disney World. I've always been a huge fan of Mickey, Disney movies, Pixar. It's not that I'm wearing my Fantasia t-shirt right now. It's not a coincidence. So when I was younger, I always had this big goal, this purpose of, one day I'll visit Walt Disney World. For some people, purpose has this other meaning, where it's bigger and it's related to other people. I was a bit selfish, so my purpose was to go to Walt Disney World, and I also wanted to study abroad. So I would always create these ideals of what my visit to Walt Disney World would look like. I would leave a lot thinking and rethinking and imagining how this perfect moment of my life would turn out to be. Same with study abroad. I always wanted to study in the US or Canada because I always wanted to explore languages. So again, I would keep imagining, I would keep dreaming and kind of designing how this experience would look like. But at the end of the day, even though I did try my best to study abroad and I finally did it and I did visit Walt Disney World, once I met and I have reached my purpose, my life after that became a little bit difficult. And that was a little bit because I think I had planned that moment and I was thinking about that purpose for so long that I wouldn't say that I got disappointed. It was everything that I could dreamed of. I had the best time of my life. But after that, I didn't have anything to look forward to. So I started questioning the meaning of my life. I've did what I set myself to do. I studied abroad. I got a scholarship in the US. I was able to visit Walt Disney World. So what's next? Sometimes we get so attached to our purpose that we forgot to live the moment. Having something to look for is always important and it will always be. But don't let this kind of thing define your entire life. Don't forget to, find meaning, find happiness in the small moments, because our lives, they're not about the ups. They are all what's in between. It's not about the end of the line. It's about the path that we need to follow and we need to go through to get to this big goal. And once you reach out this big goal, let me tell you, your life won't get any better. Your life won't change, because those were things that you thought it would happen. But nothing after we reach a major goal of ours will change. It will stay the same. So that's one of the traps, in my opinion, about having these big purposes. Now, I'm not saying to you don't have any purpose in life. I'm not saying you that. I'm telling you that you should, yes, have purposes and goals and fight for them, but don't let them define your entire life, because there's more to it. There's more to life than your own goals. Put yourself out there. A lot of times what we think is our purpose is something that society, religion, whatever social element they can think of, are putting on us. Our careers are a big portion of that, for example. A lot of people understand or think that their big purposes is to, feel 100% fulfilled in their careers and reach these higher positions in corporate or something like that. I'm pretty sure that you're familiar with the movie Soul by Pixar. It's one of my favorite movies, and I think it illustrates this quite well. Joe is a character that has this huge purpose in life of participating in a big band, jazz band or something like that, play with a jazz band. I don't recall exactly the story right now. But in the middle of the way, he finds out that the purpose is not about this end of the goal. It's about this whole path that he followed to get there. And, after he got there, the next day he would do it all again, and it would become eventually a routine, something that he would do day after day after day. So that purpose at some portion would kind of exhausted him. That's why I think it's important for us to have, a multitude of purposes. A purpose in our career, but also in your personal life, also in your, friend relationships or even love relationships. Have multiple purposes, because this will help you have more meaning. And your purpose doesn't have and don't have to be something huge. Sometimes your purpose is to look at yourself and see what is hurting me on you. Sometimes is looking inside you and see what makes you happy. Sometimes your purpose will just be resting, because after a long day of work or of studying, you're tired. So your purpose for that day is to rest. You don't need to change the world with your purpose. Your purpose can be small and still meaningful for you, and that's what it really matters. It needs to make sense for you. And unfortunately, I cannot tell you your purpose will come, within a minute or two, and it will be easy to find them. Sometimes we'll have long periods where you don't exactly have a purpose defined, and that's okay too. We don't always have to, set these big purposes on ourselves. Sometimes life is about unbecoming everything people told us that we are, that we're supposed to be, that we're supposed to achieve, and find what really resonates to you, to your life, to your experience as a human being. And if you have the chance, please go out there and explore the world, explore languages, explore cultures, because this increases our knowledge, increases the ability of us and our understanding of the world, and it allows us to see outside of our own bubbles. Sometimes we live so attached to what we know, to what we believe it's true, that having another look or taking a different approach and perspective around the things that you always thought were true can be helpful, can show you that life doesn't need to be this hard. And you should never suffer to find this purpose. This should come to you naturally, even if it's a little thing. Sometimes your purpose, again, will be to watch TV, to watch a series or TV show, to put your mind at ease because you're tired. And those are valid as well. Sometimes when we attach ourselves to these big purposes and goals in life and we achieve them, after a while you will feel empty. And you might even feel lost. But that's because you were so focused on that finding or achieving this big goal that you didn't enjoy every single piece of it. I was very lucky to, achieve my goals and enjoy the path until I achieved my Walt Disney World goal. But things they didn't went as planned, you know what I mean? Like in my dreams, I planned that I would work a certain amount of time, save some money, and then I would go. And after Disney, I would come back to my country and then would explore, and and do a scholarship in Canada or something like that. Let me tell you, nothing went as planned. And that was the best thing that happened to me. In my case, I got a scholarship to study 1 year in the US. And then, in the middle of 1 year, I had the chance of saving up enough money to visit Walt Disney World. And while it didn't went as planned, I'm so grateful to know that this happened as it was, planned or by the universe or by whoever else, that it happened as it did, because it really changed my perspective on life and my perspective on purpose. So please give yourself a minute or two, or maybe a week, a month, a year, to try and focus on you, on understanding who you are as a human being. Again, life is not linear, and you might ended up with 1,000 different answers to who am I. But from those answers, you'll be able to find those little purposes that you fulfill you and give that feeling of happiness and, achievement. The only thing that really matters is that they're important to you. And in not a way whatsoever, I'm a therapist or anything to tell you, go find a goal right now, because I really don't believe that you need to always have a goal. So please let me know here down in the comments, what do you think? Do you have any purposes? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? I would love to hear your comments. And please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I shall see you soon. Bye bye!